I was partnered up in a security company. We got a contract offered with a pretty substantial pay at a building. But it was like they're 50, 60 miles out in the middle of nowhere. And so I went out there to go check it out. Driving up to it, it was just like surrounded by trees. There was one way in and one way out. The church was completely surrounded by woods. And I immediately had a weird feeling in my gut because it was creepy. They had been without security for a couple days already because the last company had left. I thought it was being vandalized.
Let's see what they did here.
They've had ladders broken, paint cans tumped over that spilt out all the paint.
Big mess. Jeez.
It had been empty for about 20 years. So I guess they were in there trying to turn it into a church again.
They told us that some of the crosses were thrown about, or some of them had been turned upside down from after they put them up. Religious pictures, one of them fell down and actually hit one of the other contractors in the head. They said it was like somebody was trying to keep him from finishing the job.
And then this is, it's all broken up and no respect.
It looked kind of like sacrilege, you know? So that's why they needed the security. Somebody had taken a power washer and thrown it through one of the windows, but it was from the inside out. I'm a pretty strong guy. I don't know how I could have lifted that and thrown it 10 feet in the air, like, you know, through the window. It just didn't make sense. I can't say it was broken into, but it looked like there was signs of forced exit, but not forced entry, which is odd. There were things that absolutely did not add up. Well, we took the job because the pay was good and my partner was on board. He was like, yeah, let's take it and let's see what happens. And I talked to a couple of the guards that could do it, and they said, yeah, that they would do it. The first guard went up there and had a problem. If I remember correctly, he said he was locked in the church because the door wouldn't open, and he had urinated himself. And he left in the middle of his shift. The second guard claims that something had touched him and he fell over a pew, and then he left in the middle of the night. Third guy, I asked him point blank, do you believe in ghosts? At that point, people were telling me they were seeing ghosts out there, and he told me no. Claims he didn't believe in anything like that. And then he leaves in the middle of the night.
They were having the lights in the bathroom turning off and on. They had trouble opening not only the bathroom door, but the door to the church itself.
They said that, you know, they were hearing voices, they were seeing things in the woods. Different things were happening to these different people that worked there. So I was stuck. I told Gary, we need somebody to do it. And I said, just give me a couple days out there. I had to give him a ride out there, and it's a long drive.
The church was actually about 60 miles outside of town. Once you get to the winding road, the woods were almost all the way around it. It was a little creepy because I had already heard the stories from the other guys. But because of my history of doing security, I didn't take it to be as bad as it was.
I thought he was going to be the one that put a stop to all the nonsense. Even if there was something going on there, I thought he would be able to handle it.
Once you got to the church itself, it was a little bit eerie.
It's just you in the woods. Being surrounded by really thick trees, you know, being surrounded by woods is what made it scarier. You're just out there on your own.
It was a little bit weird. Yeah, I thought it was a little bit strange. I was a little bit creeped out. It was an old church. We found out later that it was actually an old Spanish missionary. Josh made sure once again that I actually wanted to go out there. So I was like, yeah, no, it's no problem.
And I still kind of held out hope that it was just a little bit of hysteria and Gary was gonna put a stop to it. You know, this is where it stops right here. There ain't gonna be no more shenanigans. He's gonna do this job.
Josh, he had his own shift he had to go work. So I went into the church. We had been told by the contractor that they didn't care if we stayed awake or went to sleep, just to make sure that we locked the doors. To the right and left of the main door, they had the little bowls where you put holy water, although they were empty. As well as they had another bigger bowl where they did baptisms too, but it was also empty. It was a little bit creepy. I was in the church playing my video game. It's maybe 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. And all of a sudden I hear like a crunching outside, like somebody's walking on the rocks in the courtyard. So I was thinking maybe I'd caught the vandal.
Hello? Hello?
So I went outside and I looked and I could still hear it, but I couldn't see anything. And I heard it go all the way around the church. So I didn't see anything and it just stopped. After it stopped, I stood there and listened to see if maybe whatever was walking had gone into the woods or something. But I didn't hear anything else after that. So I went back to doing what I was doing. I had to fight with the door a little bit to get it open. And I was like, the hell? I heard about it from another guard saying they had the same problem trying to get the door open. A couple hours later, around 3 or 4, I heard a woman crying outside. I was thinking like, what? Who is out here? I didn't think anybody'd be out this far. And I caught a glimpse of her. I called out, "Ma'am, are you okay?" And started walking towards her. I couldn't really see her face or anything. All I saw was like a dress. I had almost caught up to her. But when I got around the corner, there was nothing. She was gone.